Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I welcome you all to today's Mother's Day special that we had planned. And here we are talking on the topic of invisible to visible, that is honoring the Matru Shakti in every home. It is said that mother, their heaven lies in the feet of the mother. That is, माँ के चरणों में ही स्वर्ग होता है. That is, a mother is the life giver and she is the nurturer. And when we are with our mothers, we are in the most happiest of our state. Now, let me ask each one of you, what is the one word that you would come across when you describe your mother? Please unmute and please let's have a conversation.
Love.
Yes.
That is the word.
Yes. What is the one word?
Unconditional love.
Yes, unconditional love. Anything else?
Strength.
Anjana? Yeah?
Strength.
Yes, strength. Madeline?
I had love, but I can also say there are so many words, so I can say power.
Yes, power. Dr. Kishore?
First teacher, first mentor.
Yes.
Yes,
Teacher,
definitely.
mentor.
For me, she is the universe. She's everything for the family, for the children.
Absolutely. Yes, our whole world revolves around our mother, and she is the central figure that nurtures and provides and makes a home. Because we might be anywhere in the world, we all like to come back home, and mother is one who makes a home. And now let's move, before me moving ahead, let me start with the invocation of Matru Shakti. And let me invite Karuna Bhallaji. She's an ex-principal and an educator. To you, Karuna Bhallaji.
Thank you, Mona. Sarvamangal Mangale Shive Sarvadhi Sadike Sharne Trambake Gauri Narayane Namostute Sarvamangal Mangale Shive Sarvadhi Sadike Sharne Trambake Gauri Narayane Namostute या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मातृरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु श्रद्धा रूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु कांति रूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नमो नमः नमो नमः। माँ भाग्य विधाता है, माँ रामायण है, माँ भागवत है, गीता है, माँ सर्वशक्ति कल्याणी है, उपनिषद की वाणी है, वेद की ऋचा है, श्रमा की मूर्त है, शाश्वत सत्य है, सभी सर्वों का सार है, सभी धर्मों का सार है, संसार का आधार है, वो है तो हम हैं, वही तो है। और एक one poem which has been written by me only. Love, thy name is, O mother. Love, thy name is your mother, and magnificence is thy name, O woman. Woman, you are magnificent. A woman stands for all the women. A woman with a voice, strong for strong women, stands for strong women. A woman is infinity, an epitome of culture. She is a timeless legacy of strength. Her wavering strength for the world to perceive. She is an inspiration. She is an inimitable power, and she is there to transform the world, evolving better womanhood with grace, intelligence, tolerance, and resilience. She is a catalyst of change and horizon of peace. She's all powerful because she is Durga. She is Shakti, she is Lakshmi, and she is Saraswati. A doting mother, a caring soulmate. She is a fountainhead of optimism. She is a homemaker, a leader, an entrepreneur, and she is epitome of optimism. And above all, she is love. She is love. She is love and kindness and compassion. Feminist as she is, she believes in unique power of womanhood. And giving a chance, she creates histories. She definitely creates histories because she is unlimited. She is truly serene, grand, and magnificent. My heartfelt tribute to the womanhood and the motherhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Kandana Bhallaji. What a tribute, what an invocation of the Matru Shakti. Thank you so much. It is the mother in our ancient mythology. It's called Shiv. Matru Shakti is called Shakti because she's the driver of everything. It's called Shiv Shakti. One, the feminine and the masculine goes hand in hand, and both are equally powerful. And here you have invoked the powerful feminine, which is very, sacred and which drives our world. Thank you so much. And let's move forward. And today we are here to, talk about especially the unpaid work, which is the one which is the driving force, which fuels economies and communities and which is not recognized. And recognizing that unpaid is very important. What is it that we call as unpaid? I would like each one of you to please write in the chat or just unmute and let me know, what do you understand by unpaid work? I would like to know your opinion. What do you think is unpaid?
When the job is not appreciated by any of the members in the family, or it is taken for granted that, oh, it's her work, it has to be done. Anything, any work. It is considered menial, according to me. But nowadays, people are acknowledging the work done, but then it has to be on the scale of 10, I would say it is appreciated only 2% maybe. And rest of the world thinks the same. That's what I think.
Okay. Yeah, Anjana say the work that is not acknowledged or not recognized in monetary terms. Lucy said economies are dependent on unpaid work, so they resist acknowledging its value. Yes, but why, if they are dependent, economies are dependent. When we talk about, the basics of economics, we talk about, the household. That is the basis. If there is no household, there's not going to be an economy. And that household is made with, a home at the center of it. It's made with unpaid work because you can't make what is that unpaid? Why do you think nobody wants to recognize it? That is the biggest question I always have. What do you say? What is your what do you think? Dr. Kishore, unpaid is not about pricing. It's only about appreciation and considering the value of work. Yes, it's not about pricing. It's not. You can't put a monetary value to mother's labor. You can't do it. It has got to be just recognized. That's all, and that is not happening. So here, let's have this discussion a little later. Let's move with the agenda a little bit. I would like to call Priyanka Kumar, and there is a short story that she had written, and it's about the what we all women go through. And I would like her to narrate that story. Priyanka is an educationist and she's an entrepreneur, educationist turned entrepreneur. Inviting Priyanka. Priyanka, over to you.
Just one thing, Mona. Priyanka, is the poem or the write-up in Hindi, or is it in English?
No. It's in English.
All right, fantastic. Just a
Yeah.
word of suggestion. If we are breaking into Hindi, then just take about 10 seconds to translate it also, because we do have some non-Hindi speaking audience as well today. Thank you. Over to you, Priyanka.
Okay. So, hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mona, for the introduction. So, to begin with, there's a play that I have written, so I thought of narrating it to everyone today. And it starts thus. In every corner of the world, there lives a woman, a mother, a sister, a daughter, a friend, each carrying a strength that often goes unnoticed. Devi, her Roop Ki Kahani, brings to life the stories of these women, their silent struggles, their untold courage, and their quiet resilience. This is not just a play, it's a reflection on the divine power that resides within every woman, asking, do we truly recognize the goddess within her? And now, let me unfold the script in the form of a drama in front of you all. The title of the drama is Devi. The story of every woman is the title of the play. Devi, another name for the woman, the creator of life, the nurturer. But was she respected equally in every era? Did one woman truly understood the pain of another? Did she ever pave the way for the respect and dignity of another woman? Did anyone ever try to eradicate the gender inequality? Let's embark on a journey through time where the roles of women changed, but their struggles remained the same. Now, here comes the scene one, and there's a new bride. Her name is Aarti. Newlywed Aarti enters her room. A commanding voice of her mother in law is heard from behind. She says, listen, Aarti, my son is the male member of this house. He will sleep till late in the morning. But you, being the daughter in law, have to wake up early by 5, dress up in sari, and make tea for uncle, who is in a habit of having his tea early morning. Aarti says, okay, ma. The mother in law next day morning sees that the daughter in law is still in the room. She, with a harsh tone, she calls, Aarti, Aarti, come on, wake up. Aarti wakes up listening to her mom in law's voice and opens the door of her bedroom. Still, you are not ready? It's already 6. Look, your uncle is making his tea on his own. You haven't even changed your clothes. Go, put on a shawl and come out. Aarti then turns to the audience with the fatigue on her face and pain in her eyes and says, last night, despite endless rituals, I kept smiling and kept sitting the whole day long in my husband's house with unknown people in my surroundings, dead tired after a long wedding ceremony and the train journey which brought me to my in-laws' place. I entered the room at 1:30 a.m., barely got a nap, and now duty, devotion, and orders. Marriage has become a state of constant readiness for everyone. But for myself, there was no space, no consideration, and no empathy to understand my state of mind. Do you think it was a woman who oppressed another woman for life? After this, Aarti sits quietly in the corner of the stage. Now there comes the second scene, the modern housewife, Maya. A modern middle class household is shown where there's a kitchen, mobile phone, children, and elders. Son calls his mother, Mom, please help me solve this maths problem. I have got to go for the test tomorrow. Maya says, coming beta, give me a moment. The pan is still hot. At that very moment, the phone rings and the house help is on the call. Didi, I won't be coming today. My child is unwell. Maya thinks a bit and then she says, okay, never mind, I'll manage. In the meanwhile, her husband Rohit enters the room. Hey Maya, I had to submit some papers at the bank. Can you please do it for me? Sure, but mom also has a doctor's appointment, Rohit. And at that very moment, the mother in law also calls from behind. Maya, I can't find my glasses. And also, please, can you get me the medicines? Now, everything freezes then. Maya again looks at the audience. Not a moment for myself since morning. Yet the world says, you're just a housewife. Does anyone realize how many responsibilities are carried out without salary, without holidays, every single day? There's a pause. Now comes the third scene, the elderly housewife, grandma. Now, grandma is on the stage, dressed in a white sari with a calm expression on her face. She says, in our times, a woman's shadow followed the man. Dreams had no meaning, sacrifice, service, and silence were the jewels of women. No one ever asked, what are your own dreams? But why would they? Women didn't even know what the dreams were. Maya, grandma look at each other. Now, two generations, but the sorrow is same. Now, here comes the final scene. All characters come together on the stage. Aarti, Maya, and grandma all stand on the stage holding each other's hand. Eras changed, but the question remained the same: respect, equality, acceptance. Our aim is not to replace patriarchy with matriarchy, but to build a system where both men and women deserve equal rights. But think, what if one day women refused to accept their traditional roles? How would society function? This is not a fantasy, it is a warning. Now is the time to acknowledge these wounds, to listen to the stories that have remained buried in the silence for too long. Now is the time for change so that the next generation inherits not wounds, but dignity and understanding. Because we don't want worship, we want identity. We don't want pity, we want respect of equality. We had enough, so please stop taking us for granted. Thank you. And thus the play comes to an end.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. What a lovely play. In fact, you had penned it down and we had so many discussions over it. And it's a lovely
Yeah.
play that you have penned down. And I would like to see that on enacted on the stage. I think the impact is going to be far more.
Fingers crossed.
Yes,
Yes,
let's
yes.
cross our fingers. Okay, thank you so much. This is what, this is a generational thing that is happening. All the generations, we have faced the same thing. The invisible work, everybody keeps doing, there is no acknowledgement. And that frustration and anger keeps passing on through. It's intergenerational. Because now, when you said it's a warning that people, what if women do not do the traditional? It's that I know women have refused to do it now because I already know a marriage counselor who had come to me and told me, the first thing a woman would come and tell me is that I would not do the housework, I would do everything outside. Now, how can a home be made like this? Because It's just a replacement. It's you are replacing a provider with a nurturer, and it's just the role reversal. Somebody has to do it. Who's that somebody going to be? A man. And I have a man who tells me his wife now comes and tells him that, what do you do at home all day? It's just the replacement of the characters. It's the problem remains the same. So we have to find a solution to the problem, because we are not doing anything else, just replacing each other. So let's move forward, and let me call now Aarti Ahluwalia. Aarti Ahluwalia has a long credential. She is an UN representative. She is the coordinator of publication of UN Common Cluster NGO Major Group. She is the board member of Social System Labs, and she's part of Eco Civilization, and she works very hard to get a little bit of sanity into this world. Over to you, Aarti.
Well said, Mona. I think that's the closed captioning that I apply myself to bring some sanity into this crazy world. But thank you so much. I can't appreciate your effort enough. And let me say this, ladies and gentlemen, Mona Mehra is sitting here with a lot of trauma today, because there's a medical emergency at her, in her house. And despite that, she has the sense of duty to show up and string us all together. So thank you, Mona, for that. Really appreciate. And this actually points to the whole idea of care, right? And Priyanka, the play that you just read out, I think it is just so beautifully done. It talks about cross-cutting themes. Yes, the intergenerational passing over of traumas, of conditions, of practices, of rites and rituals that are increasingly becoming defunct as the world is unfolding before us. I am personally of the opinion that everything that has been so far is being called into question. With the coming about of this entire technology boom, we are being called to question our existence, our association, our placement in the world, our life location, what we align ourselves to, how do we perceive reality around us. Now, let me come back to this is more on a broad level as to how do we see our position, what is the context we are working in. But let's start narrowing it down to some of the work that we've been pulling off with the UN Women Council at CSW 30. So we started with the whole agenda of unpaid work. And Mona had asked this question right in the beginning, that what does unpaid really mean to us? I think it is the kind of work that is not considered worthy of inclusion. And when something is not considered worthy of inclusion, it remains undignified. And what we have today is an intergenerationally undignified class of human engagement that in Indian terms contributes to about 7.5% of the whole GDP, as per the Better India statistic, which Mona had shared early in the group. Another very interesting statistic was that 89% of the icons in the world attribute their success to their mothers. Remember, they're not saying fathers, they're saying mothers. So if we were to deconstruct this entire concept of the mother, it is, yes, as women, biological women, we are the custodians of the element of femininity in the world, but that is not where the story began or it ends. It's interesting to note that we constitute about 0.01% of the total number of human species present on the planet, plants being the largest. Despite being only 0.01% at 8 billion, we are wreaking havoc. That's a reality check. But given the beauty of how life is formed on this earth, some of us have been given the design and the form of what is known as the altricial being. Now, I know this word is going to trip us up because we've never heard it before. Honestly, a very dear friend, Gian Wong, he introduced me to this word. Now, the word altricial really means that when you're born, you cannot fend for yourself. You need care. You cannot feed yourself. You cannot save yourself. So you're literally a piece of flesh with some electrical charge in it, waiting to be cared for. And who does the first job? That's a no-brainer. right? Who does the first job? So what is the first lesson of having come alive? What is that first lesson that is a part of our consciousness? That we need care. We can only grow if we are cared for. What is the mechanics of that care? We see that across our life. It's interesting. Some of us who've even lost our parents, in a moment of conflict, we cling to their sweater or their picture, and we want them to guide us. Even if we are 80 years old, at some point of time, we're going to think about our parents. So that whole understanding in our being, in our bones, in our skin, in our DNA, the understanding of care is extremely disconnected from the way we've crafted our institutions today. None of those institutions, none of them, not a single institution today responds to the currency of care with the currency of care. That idea is an absent idea. And I think this is where we stand. This is a reality check for us. What is our organizational system as a human race, as human beings? And I'm cutting across cultures, Western, Eastern, North, South. I think it doesn't matter any longer. We can keep dividing ourselves into innumerable pieces. At the end of the day, we all need care. We're all formed by mothers and fathers and a family environment. And the lack of it or the strength of it defines who we eventually become. So there's a very interesting statistic, which I forget the numbers, but they say that any leader in the world who's not making the right decisions has grown up with conflict in the closest quarters. When you look at violence at home, when you look at lack of dignity at home, when you look at lack of respect for the mother, for the caregiver at home, who's managing and organizing resources so that everybody has a piece of the pie, and everybody kickstarts their morning and goes out to earn the money for which they apply for jobs and they acquire an education, and that's never held against them. But it's always held against the unpaid worker. That's the mother. And it could be a father, a stay-at-home father as well. I mean, we are talking about something so delicate that we cannot bring in gender into this. We have to understand what is the construct? How is it impacting us? It is no longer just limited by the scope of the genders. It is about care in totality. So in Hinduism, for our non-Indian speakers, there's the concept called Ardhanareshwar, which is what Mona was referring to in the context of Shiva. So Ardhanareshwar is the embodiment of the woman and the man in equal measure to form the complete being that's Shiva. So we all have a dominant side to us. It could be masculine, it could be feminine. There are men with a dominant feminine side as well. How do we discount that? So there are so many things that can corroborate what we are talking about here. Another very interesting figure that I'd like to cite is that if you look at one of the best performing sectors in the country, that's digital technology. Do you know that there are only 12% women in the leadership, which means 88% are not women. Therefore, the dominant left-brain thinking and decision-making that is being imposed on the entire system is lopsided. It is unfriendly. It is unhumanistic, because it is only serving just one side of it. Now, the other perspective, and this is what Nora Bateson also talks about in the context of warm data. When you look at the emotional information, that is literally 50% information that we do not have the intelligence to build upon, and therefore, globally, generationally, we've made decisions on 50% of or let's say just 50% of information. We've left out 50% emotional data, which is actually carried by caregivers. And I'm not bringing in gender, because we know how that backfires. So when we're talking about unpaid work, yes, mothers are at the center of it. Because like Mona said that, yes, we are held up for stereotypicality, but what the hell? It is a mother who's going to give birth. A father doesn't give birth. So by design, by biology, by nature, it comes to the woman. And therefore, she takes the center stage in terms of the inequity that has been handed down to us and continues to become even worse as we're progressing into our own future. And that is the legacy we're building for the future. So it's a very interesting thing to say that our present needs to be defined by what we decide to leave for the future to inherit. So they also say it takes a village, and I always ask this question, oh, really? So where is the village, and who is in it, and what are they doing? Do they know they're in the village? Do they know that they form the village? Are they aware that it is no longer a village because they don't know they're in a village? Our course correction doesn't need to happen only individually. It also has to happen at a community level, at a national level, at a global level, at an earth level. But I know of many, many networks globally right now that are struggling to piece it together, to give it a certain form and shape, like a guide for dummies for us to launch our 2.0 humanity. But that's not happening. Because within our households, the way families come together in traditional societies definitely is a lot more structured, it's a lot more meaningful. But in non-traditional societies, that association is so defined by common capitalistic terms. And somehow that mishmash is happening across the globe. So I'd like to sort of end my little discourse here by saying that we need to really recognize our life location in the context of care. We cannot replace care with money any longer. So how do we relate to each other? What is our language? What is our vocabulary? What is our stance? What is our physical, emotional stance? What is it that we carry on our face? How dismissive are we? How rejecting are we? How accepting are we? Right. So I think there's a lot of work to be done, and I again congratulate Mona for really, bringing up the subject and bringing so many of us together to deliberate. So I think we'll keep just bouncing off each other as the session takes, course. And Mona, over to you. Thank you so much, and we'll keep coming back into the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aarti. Thank you so much putting things in perspective at the global level and coming down to the household and talking about Ardhanareshwar, the feminine and the masculine. And you said very articulate. That is the new word that you let us know.
Just write it in the chat box for everybody to sort of explain.
Yes, that new word I have learned, and absolutely it sums us nicely. That tells us that we are dependent on the nature. In fact, everything around. It's not the other way around, that we think that we are the the top of the pyramid and we rule the world. It is not that. It is the nature which rules us and provides us everything. We are dependent. It doesn't happen the other way around. So thank you so much. It's altricial. Okay, altricial. Okay,
it's
thank you so much.
I'll mention the pronunciation also. It's altricial. I'll just write.
Yes, thank you. And now let's move on, and let me call Dr. TPS. Dr. TPS, a very well-known person in South India. He's a space scientist, he's a mentor, he is a life mentor, an educationist, and he runs a program for mothers. And let me invite Dr. TPS. Dr. TPS, over to you. You're going to talk about the open-minded motherhood, and I've heard him speak so many times, and he has a YouTube channel, and I think there is so much available on YouTube and on social media about him also. Over to you, Dr. TPS.
Namaskaram, Moni, and thank you for this opportunity on talking about the woman's participation. Probably that is how I wanted that to be coined. When we talk about participation, we have to look at which are all the different forums in which we have a role, or maybe we have something what we call as a representation. Statistics shows that women participation in agriculture is more than men. 60%, maybe around that, I think. Manufacturing unit, it is very less. And managers throughout level, it could be 50-50. And if you look at ruling the country, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, it is less than 15%. Maybe at the lowest level in Panchayat Raj, it could be around 50% because of the new policies and all that. Why am I talking about this representation? There is a specific reason. If you look at our age-old history, we all have lot of prayers where Devi Mata is being always praised. Goddess have more relevance than God. Shiva Shaktya yukto yadi bhavati shakta prabhavitum na che devam devo na khalu kushala spanditum api. Shiva cannot breathe if Valli, that means Parvati, is not there with the Shiva. That's how Soundarya Lahari starts. Shankaracharya himself said the relevance of the lady along with the Shiva to give life to Shiva. Mahabharata, if you look at it, we have got two great motherhood. That is where I say open motherhood. The openness in the concept of motherhood. It is two great mothers who runs the whole Mahabharata, if you wanted to say. Raising children is the responsibility of mother. And you can see Pandava's 5 kids were raised by only one mother. Fathers were not alive. But the other end, we have the king whose wife, because the king is blind, Gandhari also closed her eyes and then became blind. It shows a lady fully devoted to the husband, not taking care of children, not taking care of the family, became blind with the power of a king. So what happened? The end of the story, we know the Pandavas were successful. Therefore, the mothers perform countless activities which make the children to create a character. So it's the mindset of mothers. It's not the biological mothership, the openness, responsibility, and wisdom, which has been exposed from the story of Kunti and Gandhari with the symbolic voices. If you look at the destiny of Kunti and Gandhari, you understand the generational wisdom which we have. Mothers can shape the future by balancing emotional strength, openness, leadership, which are ethical leadership, not for the power. Gandhari was so blind because she was close to the power. So the mother's eye has to become more towards the ethical, cultural, spiritual, holistic activities. That is what the iconic mothers who are in dilemma, what to do, which is correct, which is not correct. That is why I wanted to mention this as the motherhood is more important, not whether you are a biological mother, whether you are paid, you have a GDP in plan, whether you have economically going to be richer or poorer, that doesn't make any difference. Raising the children for the world we are going to live, the concern which we have about the future, the world is moving very fast. What we witness today are the participation role across development sectors of different proportions. That is what the statistics talked about. But I believe that it is not the economic development, it is the cultural, it is the ethical, it is the value system, which a woman can play a great role. And we know that in education, most of the time, in the early childhood, very specially, it's all 99% women run institutions. Therefore, the motherhood, I mean, not just the biological mother, not in terms of cultural, religious, ethical, wisdom aspect, but academic activities. There is a saying that a station master minds the trains and a school master trains the minds. So what happens is tomorrow's mind is being trained by teachers, the school masters, and these school masters play a key role in the development of the humanity as a whole. Tomorrow, if you want a respectful job by anybody in the world, a sustainable development program, which understand the holistic development of the world with a lot of human nature, because we are all human being human, social being social. That aspect has to be built in children from their early childhood education. That's why my concept of grandma child care shiksha gurukulam, which emphasizes the humanness, the social activity, interpersonal relationship, logical reasoning, analytical ability, mathematical ability, data analysis. All that development should happen in the early childhood, and that's a responsibility of women in this world. And in India, we have got great role to play, because the woman participation, probably in politics, probably in the agriculture, probably in the development, everywhere it is being counted. But the early childhood education, which needs to be established with more quality education, and that will happen only when we play a great role in shaping the future through women activities. So I believe that the teachers have to be molded carefully with a lot of conscious effort, so that the future can be molded perfectly well. It is not today's generation the problems we have to address. What is going to happen for tomorrow's generation? And that is in the hands of the powerful woman. This is my submission, and that's why we have education is under the control of Saraswati, who is a woman goddess. Money, which is with Lakshmi, which is a goddess, woman goddess again. Shakti, who is the whole power, is given to the Parvati, who is a woman goddess. Karagre vasate Lakshmi, Karamadhye Saraswati, Karamule Sthida Gauri, Prabhade Karadarshanam. All the three lady woman goddesses are in my hand. So give me that power to raise myself. It's a great motivational song which every child in this country has to sing in the early morning as soon as they open their eyes. This shows how powerful concept we had for the womanhood, the woman motherhood, who takes care of education, money, and the courage and the freedom and the power which people should have, irrespective of men or woman, irrespective of girl or a boy. The power has to be within the children, and that is in the hands of today's woman. This is what my submission is. Thank you. I wish to have a lot of dialogue and discussion around this. I'm opening up with a lot of questions around this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. TPS. That was lovely to hear you. And what a thing to say that all the women, the goddesses, are the one who have the power. Saraswati, we know, worship Lord is Durga. There is Lakshmi. We keep Navratri, that is Lord is Durga, and we started with invoking the goddess only because she is known as the Shakti. She's the one with the power, and I believe all the 9 days that we worship, the 8 days, 9 days of Navratra, that is stands for each and every part of, once I'd written a blog about it, each day stands for what exactly it depicts every part of our life only. Because when we talk about Putri or she's an aesthetic, that's the part of the meditation. Then there's the education. Then she gets married. That is a very important part of our life. Each depicts a stage of our lives, which is a very important part. And that's what I believe the life of a goddess also depicts what in our lives, how we can, grow as a person. And as a mother, that is a very important role we need to play because the future generation comes from us and they need to be molded. If the kind of future that you want we have to work right now to make that future possible. So very well said. Thank you so much.
Mona,
Yes,
please read my book of Dashamahavidya, that is on 10 goddesses, which represents from 16-year-old Tripura Sundari to 60-year-old Dhumavati. That means from the womanhood to the deathbed, all the goddesses of different ages, different power concepts, and what is the philosophy, what is the science, what is the Shakti, what is the rituals, what are the kshetras to be motivated internally, empowered. Dasha Mahavidya, Dr. TPS. There is a book on 10 goddesses. It is Nava Ratri, but Dasha Mahavidya. That means 10 days. Dashami. That is why it is called 10 days, 9 nights.
nights, 10 days. That's
10
what we
days.
go
That
call
is 10
Lakshmi.
goddesses.
10
And that
goddesses.
is India from Tibet to Kanyakumari, from east to west. We have got goddesses, each state its own importance based on Dashamahavidya. That book covers all these aspects very carefully. And that's a very
I would
powerful
read
book
that.
on Shakti,
I would.
Dashamahavidya. Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you
I would
so
do
much.
that. Let's move ahead. I think we have the paucity of time. So let me call on Antara. Antara is a purpose-driven digital marketer. Antara, over to you. Let's hear from you.
Hi, thank you everyone. Thank you, Mona ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to just step in and be a part of this discussion. I will kind of just speak few words around that here, so it's the supporting and encouraging and reinvigorating each suffering individual we encounter is the first sure step to realizing a society that respects the dignity of life. It's the starting point for building peace. So, quoting a thought from Buddhism on motherhood, being filial towards one's father and mother means that one is always mindful of providing a parent with all manner of good things. And if this happens to be impossible in the course of a day, one at least smiles twice or thrice in their direction. Some of you may find it embarrassing to smile at your parents, at some may at times feel annoyed when they nag or tell you what to do. But remember that their sole concern is only on your growth and happiness. So that's why they can't help but get on your case sometimes. A smile from you would make them incredibly happy. A smile can fill your family with joy and enable you and your parents to move along the path of hope. So from chaos to clarity, everyday strength, thriving, not surviving. With this, I would like to highlight some practical tools for moms stepping into their power, like a quick, actionable strategies to help mothers how to navigate caregiving responsibilities on self recognition. So, first, it's very important that we set micro boundaries without guilt, delegate without apologizing, without just giving a lot of things on your self respect, having that kind of a dignity for yourself first and then delegate things without apologizing. Celebrate the small wins daily, not leave it for the moment for things to just emerge. It's very important just how you can just appreciate yourself, praise yourself for whatever you're doing, be it small things. Who is judging you? You are at the end judging yourself. So why to judge? Why to get afraid? Just celebrate the small wins. uh, Also, it's very important to voice, not only journal. So what does that voice means? Using your voice as memos to release the thoughts, reflect yourself and affirm your worth. There would be days when you will be perfect, there'll be days when you will just imperfect. Just don't bother about your flaws, just delegate and automate. So it's very important to reclaim your time, voice, and value, which isn't a luxury, but it is the foundation of thriving in the society, in the family, in the households, as both a caregiver and an individual. Here I will kind of take a pause and let me put across questions which will come back again. With this, what's one small daily habit which you feel you have created or wish to do it only for yourself? With just only one. What is that you where you feel the kudos out of everything? What do you really do it? Do you self-reflect yourself? Uh, Next could be which caregiving task would you gladly delegate if given chance and why? So here I will pause and over to you, Mona man, to take it ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Antara. That was really lovely. That do not feel guilt. I think that is one guilt factor comes to all mothers. Especially, I remember leaving my child when I had to join back. That was one issue that I faced. Slowly, I realized that yes, there was somebody in the family to look after. So that I had moved on to start my career again after I had given up. But life goes on. Yes, there are. We always, we never say that. Paid work is a very important part. Our life, jobs, and businesses are very important. We are not saying that they are not important. We are just trying the recognition of unpaid work, which is also very important in our lives. Yes, one thing that you reflect is that how do you reflect? I really like to meditate sometimes, and especially that calms my mind, because sometimes mind speaks too much. So I think that is the way that gets me to unwind. I know everybody has a different way to unwind, and surely, Antara, you have figured out how to unwind, because that is very important. You just mentioned it's very important. And delegation, I think one task which needs to be delegated, I just delegated a little bit of cooking, which was very important. But the only thing is the maids are not coming. That's a very big, important, difficult part in our lives nowadays. That is also there. But we are grateful we have our support system here in India. I'm sure in the Western, it is much more difficult. Countries where Madeline comes from, it's much more difficult. Here we have, the ability to give, a support group where there are cooks and drivers and so many things. But yes, these can be delegated in our part of the world. So let's move on, and let me call Madeline. Madeline, yes, please. Marilyn is the Secretary General of FEFAF, European Federation of Parents and Carers at Home. Marilyn, could you share insights on the issue of unpaid work from your region's perspective? Yes, let's hear from Marilyn.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me. It came on a very short notice, but I am happy to share experiences and what I do. I also work in a Swedish national organization for stay-at-home parents, and have been active for 25 years now, starting from personal experiences as a mother of 5 children. I was expecting my 4th child when I realized that it's very, very difficult to see or to make that kind of choice in my country. You are expected to leave your children to preschools. We don't have daycare. We only have preschools. And you are expected to work. You are actually pushed economically to leave your children. So when I realized that maybe I could make a different choice, it was from within, and it was from an urgent need actually to save the relationship, the family. It's difficult to take care of a family, but it's even more difficult to take care of a family not being there. That is really a struggle. So from when I decided that 25 years ago, with my only daughter, I don't know what happened when I was pregnant with her. Something inside of me made me so powerful. I was strong before, but I got so powerful with her. And I started to work with these issues because I saw that this is a system that doesn't respect women, motherhood, families, caring for families, and letting parents make their best choices. So what we do today is there is actually, at this very moment in Sweden, we are fighting because there is a suggestion from a politician that will be, I'm not sure it will go through, but they will leave it in June. And it's a mandatory preschool for from 3 years of age and 30 hours a week. So that would mean that you have to leave your children 30 hours a week, even if you are taking care of a small younger sibling. And actually, parents are not very, some parents are upset, but it's only 5% of all children who are 3 years old who don't go to preschool. So it's a very tiny group of people. And they want it to be free of charge. So these parents who have their children in preschool, they say, okay, this is very good. I don't have to pay anything, and I can leave my children. So it's like we have changed the way parents think. The norm is very, very strong, and the narrative has become, I don't know, it's like we stopped thinking. Some years ago, I went to Nigeria. I have been at the UN at the Commission on the Status of Women for every year since 2006, I think. So I've been very active for a very long time. And I went to Nigeria, I think it was in 2017, to give a speech. But what happened and what touched me most was the instincts between mothers and their children. And we have lost it. Actually, we have lost it here. You don't see that kind of, the natural attachment that children and mothers, they are like one. It's like a dance in between them. They know one another so in such a deep way that they don't have to talk. They and it's really, we lack it here. And it was really painful to see it, because this is not the way we're supposed to do it. So the unpaid work, it's more than just payment. It's some kind of deep value. And if we lose the motherhood instincts because we push women to work, that is such an ignorant way to create to shape the future. And also in Europe, they have these Barcelona targets where they want children to be in preschools, and the reason is because they want women in the workforce. So it's 96% of all children from the age of 3, and I think if it's 45%. I'm not really sure, but I think it's 45% of all children under the age of 3 who should attend preschool, just to make women work. As if this wasn't a work. I have never worked harder than having 5 small children. You work day and night, and there are so many things to take care of. Doing the dishes, feeding them, caring for all their issues that happens all the time. To be there, you need to just keep kind of yourself in a sane mentality. You have to work so hard on yourself, and if you don't have the support from your community, your society, it's really very difficult. And families, I have a very strong families behind me, so it has been easy for me. But it's not all people have that, because young people, they move to where to cities and where they can get a job. So I am so angry about the situation, and really very sad, because I really see how you can change the mentality in a very short period of time. Sweden is not, I'm 59 now, and when I grew up, the situation was completely different. So it's very sad. So I'm happy I can speak about it here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Marilyn, I just wanted to ask, it's become mandatory over there for children up to, 3, for them to go for 30 hours to a preschool. I'm just clarify, I've just wanted to understand that.
There is a suggestion. It's going to go to the government in June. I don't think it will go through, but this is not the first suggestion. So it's like this is the way we are going forward. And
So
all
it's
the
become yeah. So
Yeah,
if
and
there's a child is 3 months old, that is also needs to be put into the
no, no, no,
the
no, no, no,
so
no,
it's
no.
Yes.
No, actually, we have this parental leave, which is quite long. It's 1.5 year. It depends on that you must have a work before. So it's, how do you say? It's based on your salary, your income. So if you haven't planned your child very well, or if you don't have children within 2 years, you get less. So you only get a small payment. But we have a welfare society where we pay a lot of taxes. So we get it back in parental leave, and the preschool is very, very cheap. You only pay like 8% of the real cost, and the state pays the rest. But also, you are supposed to do certain things. After this 1.5 year, then you are supposed to work full time. And
full
it's
time. That's 8 hours for a mother, new a mother also, that she has to join back. That's what you said. It becomes mandatory for the child of 3 years to go to a preschool, and then yes, if there's no choice. A choice is not there. If a mother wants to stay back, it's not allowed. It's not allowed.
it's still allowed, but it's they are trying to go against that.
They're trying to go against, like
And
make it.
that is also especially because the immigrant, they tend to stay longer, and they want the immigrant children to be in the preschools because of the language. They need to learn the language, and so it's like by separating families, they think it will be. We have a lot of trust in the state in Sweden.
Okay. Okay. So it's, but there is no acceptance of unpaid work over there. Well, when you say that,
No.
yeah, like, there's no acceptance.
No. It's very low valued. But there are many groups that are starting to fight this. And also in the other Nordic countries, especially Denmark, they are working so hard to change things. But also, I want to say that you talked about the women who refuse to do the work. We see it now. Women
Yeah.
refuse to do the work. They get a high education, and then there are a lack of men who have higher education. So they don't find anyone to be a part to have a partner. It's very difficult, and we don't have children any longer. We only have 1.43 child per woman now.
Absolutely, because when you have a child, you raise it in a home only, and it's done with unpaid work only. I think Aarti has some point to make. Aarti, please go ahead.
Madeline, this is thank you, because the other side of the world is also experiencing something that we are experiencing. It's just that the increasing and incremental loss of care has many shapes and sizes across the world today. I think it all comes down to that. So in this part of the world, we're experiencing it in a complete cultural recession, I would say. And I think in the West, it is possibly that you're trying to revive a certain culture, and there's a pushback against that. So imagine we do not have a system of care in the world, and whatever little we have is being dismantled against, let's say, the post-industrial sort of mindset and approach.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Dismantle in the capitalistic society, which focuses only on economics, because the focus is only on money and nothing else.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madeline. Let's move ahead, and let me call Anjana. Anjana is a career counselor as well as a parenting expert. And let me ask Anjana what is the one message you would like to give to parents or children to build a better future? Over to you, Anjana.
Thank you, Mona. Thank you for inviting me, and it's been heartening and insightful to listen to all the experts here with very meaningful contributions. If I had to share one message for building a better future, it would be this. Let's start where it truly begins, and that's at home. And that's at the crux of what we are all talking about. Because homes are the first classrooms, and mothers are often the first nation builders. We need to acknowledge that. And I've been working with young people in different settings for the last almost 30 years in rural, urban, school children, with the parents, and as a mother myself. I've seen again and again what shapes the child isn't just education or opportunity, but the emotional foundation they are raised with. And I repeat, it's the emotional foundation they are raised with. I remember a moment with my own daughter when she was just in grade 9, and she came to me one evening and said that, Mom, I don't want to do this anymore. It wasn't about schoolwork, it was about the pressure, the silent kind that so many children carry, the pressure to be perfect, to please, to perform. That moment taught me something I carry with me in every conversation with students and families. Children don't need to be pushed, they need to be understood. And that understanding begins at home. Whether we realize it or not, parents, especially mothers, are shaping the values, self worth, and emotional strength of the future citizens who are going to be the torchbearers of this society. We don't just raise individuals, we raise mindsets. And the values we pass on in the small everyday moments, patience, empathy, resilience, ripple outward into classrooms, boardrooms, and communities. We often look to institutions to build the nations, the schools, the colleges, governments. But the foundation of that nation begins much earlier in the lap of a mother, in the presence of a nurturing parent. When a child is truly seen, heard, and accepted, they grow up to create safer, more inclusive spaces for others. And that is the seed of change. So, on this occasion of this Mother's Day and what we are talking about, I would like to honor all the mothers, not just for the care they provide, but for the deep, invisible work of shaping hearts and minds. You are the first influence, the first safety net, the first leadership lesson. And that is not a small role, it is the most powerful one of all. And let us remember, the future of empathy begins at home, the future of compassion begins at home, the future of resilience begins at home, the future of leadership begins at home. So, to every parent and every mother, especially, your role isn't just important, it's foundational to society. You are raising not just a child, you're raising the values on which the future will stand. Let's raise them not with pressure, but with presence, not with fear, but with faith, and not for the world we knew, but for the world they will create. Thank you so much.
Awesome, Anjana. That was really, really inspiring.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. I think I already talked to you. My son is in 10th, and this is so relatable, And there is so much pressure that he faces. And just yesterday, just day before, and I was, as a mother, you get so, the surrounding is such, you get under pressure, do this, do that, do this, do that. You're like that. You get, not performing. And then my sister-in-law said, "Oh, he'll do something in life. Relax." And why am I to put in so much of pressure on him? He'll do something in life. Yes. There is so many things to be done. I'm sure he'll find something to do.
Hold
And
on
why,
a second. I met your son. I am very confident he'll do something.
as a mother, sometimes they are surrounded the whole tamjam of that school, the teachers and everybody creates so much of a pressure on him. Oh, is my child doing something? He's doing something right? And as a mother, you get into that trap. Oh God, I have to put pressure on him. I'm not putting, that compromise thing needs to come.
That's what we need to change at home. Stop putting that pressure. You have to
Yeah,
guide.
So, ease off, ease off. It's okay. He's doing fine. And as a mother, I truly relate. And thank you so much for putting this in context. Yes, as a mother, we are the ones who are nurturing. And these are the guys and girls who are going to become the future leaders, nobody else. And we are the one who require a lot of, help. As a caregiver, I think the caregiver themselves needs to first find sanity. That sanity should be there with the caregiver, because you're giving care to somebody, your sanity is also important. And that sanity should be there. Thank you so much. That was excellent. Thank you so much. Let me move on, and let me call Dr. Kishore. Dr. Kishore? Dr.
Yes, ma'am.
Kishore is here. Yes, just let
Yes,
me
ma'am.
spotlight you. Yes, Dr. Kishore is here. Now, Dr. Kishore is a CFO and a global policy maker. And the question for you is, how can policy decisions that focus on recognizing unpaid work contribute to economic growth and social well-being? Over to you, Dr. Kishore.
Thanks, ma'am. Thanks to Aarti, ma'am. Thanks to all the other leaders in the forum. Yes, I'm very privileged to be part of this much required discussion and appreciate your kind efforts. So I am seeing a family of young, slightly elder, and of my age group discussing a topic which is very sensitive, less discussed, much required, and need to be championed. And with thanks, yes, the focus of the policy decisions which touch upon the unpaid value of the work done by the homemakers mostly has got a very far-reaching impact. In fact, no mother or no homemaker, there is no home, no society, no economic development. Everything is related to the homemaker. Now, what do we need? We need first recognition for the homemakers or for the unpaid work contributing force. Then we need respect for the work what is contributed. Then we need also reward. Reward may not necessarily mean in terms of money. Reward could be in terms of better healthcare, emotional care, and of course, without fail, apportionment of the family income, which rightfully belongs to the homemaker. Family earns money, society earns money, economy earns money. If we were to dissect the earning power, it will never be possible, because it is the homemaking contribution which is subsidizing the private profits and is supporting the government profits, the government revenue. Therefore, there has to be apportionment of income within the family, so long as the first two are well in place. Third one will not be a challenge. If recognition and reward, recognition and respect are duly given, the need and the complexity of rewarding will not arise, because a homemaker's reward expectation is about the family's well-being only. Now, on the economic growth, about the numbers, Dr. TPS has spoken and Aarti ma'am has spoken, and of course Mona ma'am also touched upon a couple of things. There is GDP contribution which is coming, sizable portion which is coming from homemakers. Records say that it is something between 13% to 20%. Particularly if I am talking about India, there are some studies which are made with whatever scientific proof they could ascertain, stating that the GDP growth rate would be up to 40% higher, if only it is just the number what needs to be rightly stated. Growth remaining same, situation remaining same, the accuracy will improve. What the study said is the present GDP volume will be 40% higher if only we include the unpaid work in the GDP calculations. Look at this kind of inaccuracy what we are living with now. And with this inaccurate numbers or database, the apportionment towards the HR costs, HR aspects, the labor force participation and other policies is all wrong, inaccurate. And the section which requires support rightfully out of their contribution is deprived. That anomaly needs to be set right. In fact, I am very thankful to this forum for conducting series of programs and bringing out reports and encouraging persons like me and many others, calling leaders like all of you to the platform and to discuss this, and in the process collecting the best views and championing towards submitting to all the bodies, including United Nations, including the governments, to bring whatever possible development and positive change to get the inclusion of unpaid work in the GDP calculations. Now, before I conclude, I'd like to tell you two things. Number one, the inclusion of unpaid work in GDP may not bring any physical impact immediately, but as the question was posed to me, it will bring a lot of social well-being in the family. When everyone acknowledges that there is a contribution which is coming from the homemaker as well, the way one responds, the way one treats, the way one includes that person, the persons will be different. And as we saw, Norway, Iceland, Sweden, there are few more, including Switzerland. These three are the countries which stood as the best examples in respecting, recognizing the home makers and unpaid work contributors. And we should also understand these are the countries which ranked among the top in having happy families, happy lives, longer lifespan, lesser healthcare costs, lesser health issues, and a peaceful atmosphere all across. So the economic development and the social well-being definitely will be tremendously influenced if only the policies are right and they work towards including the unpaid work also in the computation of GDP. With that note, again, my sincere thanks to all of you, and I wish this forum to do more wonders like this and include as many as possible and bring out the proper report as per the timeline what you're targeting, a couple of months, and see an impact in the policy makers' thoughts. Thank you very much, please.
Thank you, Dr. Kishore. Thank you so much for highlighting that inclusion of unpaid work is going to be socially, it is going to cause so much of betterment of the person who is giving the care. It's going to give recognition, and the reward comes later. It's the respect and recognition which is the utmost importance. Because if you get respect and recognition, the reward of a homemaker is that the well-being of the family. That is what they are looking for. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your discussion and getting that answer from you. And we are planning, Aarti just wrote to me today for that policy decision, the white paper that we are planning to create and put it across. We are working on that, and thank you so much. We are going to all work on it because we are collecting all the thoughts for so many years, and we are going to culminate into a document which we need to put forward because it is very essential at this point of time to take it forward. Aarti, you would like to add something?
Yes, in fact, thank you so much. And like I always say, Dr. Kishore just comes in and in flat 5 minutes, we're all upgraded, right? So thank you, sir, again for that. I do have one of the Google Forms, Mona, I think we had circulated it in our previous sessions also. I'm going to put the link here, and I request everybody to sign up on that form and just fill it out to let us know what is it that you'd like to contribute and how would you like to contribute, because this white paper is going to be a collective exercise. So we have many diverse perspectives coming in, and we'd like to sort of, build the case for change based on these stories, these lived experiences, right? So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So I'm just looking for that link, and I'll post it in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll mail it across to people also. That is not a problem because I have the mail IDs. I'm going to mail it across to people also. And I think we've come to the end. And before that I move on, I would like to talk about the just a second. Just put on the gallery view. Yes, I would just like to talk about the call for action. Now, what is it that we need to change to get across the unpaid word recognition? Now, the years that I had spent researching what exactly is the problem is, see, why I started is because when I was a child, I seen my mother being treated very badly because all the time she was being asked, what do you do at home? And she had 4 kids. She was up from morning 5 o'clock till night 12 o'clock. And we've seen the gradual, that self-humiliation lead to loss of self-confidence and self-worth. And eventually after, she was on the deathbed and she said, I just don't want to live. And I still remember her face when she says, I just don't want to live, because she just had no will to live because the amount of disrespect she had faced. So and that happened to all my aunts and everywhere, and I've seen it so much happening. And I just wanted an answer to one question: why nobody accepts work done in a home as work? And it has taken me almost my lifetime. In last till 2015 I have been defining a home. And what I have found is that that definition of work that we have made is completely wrong, and we need to redefine that. What happens is that when we say work is work when done for money, when we make a definition like this, that is being conditioned. This is a generational conditioning that has happened, and it's across decades. When we say work, what happens is that when you think of work, you are always thinking in terms of office, that is paid work. Unpaid, it does not even strike you that what I am doing myself in a home is also work. It is the same work. We do not even realize it because of the conditioning is so strong. Now, I'll give you an example. This is a tea, which is I make in my home, and food we make in a home. It's the same process. It will take chopping raw materials. It will take chopping. It will take, stirring. We'll put all the raw material in the pan and we'll start cooking. The same process happens in a home. The same process happens in a restaurant. And the only difference is that money part. There you're going to be paid for it. Here you're not going to be paid for it. And the only difference is that that is accepted as work when we do not accept this as work. And why that is? Because we have made a policy which says work is work only when done for money. And can you beat it? And we keep following that policy over and over again without questioning. Why? Why am I accepting? Is it not taking time? Is it not taking effort? What is it a difference? The difference is money. And why? Who says that work starts as paid? We all. What is that unpaid? Unpaid is when we do it ourselves. It's always going to be unpaid. It's going to be free. Unpaid means free. Free means it should not be paid. It can never be paid. Let me give you an example. As a child, when you grow up, you learn to do your bed, you learn to wash utensils, you learn to cook. How do you learn? Only somebody's taught you. Somebody, your mother or father has taught you. When you do it yourself, is it going to be paid? Yes. Is somebody going to pay you? That is unpaid. It is called as free. It is supposed to be unpaid. It is never supposed to be paid. And that is what is unpaid work. It cannot be paid. And that is we are so conditioned to think that as you say work, it means it is supposed to be paid work. We are always looking at that. That distinction has to be there, that paid work means just jobs in businesses. When you're asking somebody, are you working? Don't ask that. Are you working? Are you doing paid work? Are you in jobs in businesses? That is more sensible, because as soon as you say, are you working? And that person is taking care of kids, she will not or he will not have anything to say. And if they end up saying, I'm doing no work, that is demeaning themselves. What we are doing is demeaning a human being. Just because we made a policy which says work is work only when done for money. That policy needs to change. Our definition of work needs to change. Paid work just means jobs in businesses. That is a very important part of our life. Period. Not everybody, child is not supposed to prove themselves by doing jobs and businesses. Old people are not supposed to prove. Everybody all the time is not supposed to do paid work. Only age group of 18 to 60 years are supposed to do only 8 hours of paid work. All the time, paid work does not happen. Please redefine work, and you will get an answer where we are going wrong. Secondly, we do not have the right to do our own work. We do not. As an individual, there is no freedom of choice. If I say I want to do my own work and I'm happy to doing it, I do not have a choice, because everybody will keep telling me, society, yes, are you working? Are you working? Do paid work. What's paid work? That is jobs and businesses. Right now, I'm taking care of my child. I don't want to do paid work. There is no pride in it. Why is there no pride in it? Because that is not accepted. As we have said, the standard of work is paid work. Everything else get to be substandard. Who is going to do the substandard work? Question is, who is going to do it? Nobody is going to do it. Woman has refused to do substandard. It just means we have made a standard. What is that benchmark? Paid work. Against that, will unpaid work qualify? It will never qualify, because it is free. It starts as free. And that's what we have done. It's substandard. So anything that is substandard, nobody would agree to do it. And you see it everywhere. People do not have pride in doing their own work. Pride in bringing our own kid. Only when there is pride when we do it for our meal. The same thing for making money. There is pride in that. So this is इसको कहते हैं हम लोग हिंदी में उल्टी गंगा बहाना. Or it's the world is upside down. We in our policies have made it upside down. Are we start with free or unpaid work? When was it supposed to be paid all the time? Paid work is important, just one part of our life. And that we need clarity. We need to redefine work. Secondly, we need to stand up for own right, for our own freedom of choice, which we do not have, because right now we cannot choose between paid and unpaid, because work only means paid work. So here it's a little WAP concept. I have written a book on it, the missing piece, and I have my articles on LinkedIn. Please, any questions, I'm ready to answer that. Whatever I know, maybe I do not know some of them, I would learn from you. That would be great. Yes, Aarti, you want to say something?
Thank you so much, Mona. I mean, this puts into perspective, and I just wanted to remind everyone that, when we initially started working on this whole subject, we narrowed it down across about 2 sessions to 3 core areas of working. Of course, today's discussion was in the context of Mother's Day, and therefore the focus was on mothers. But in the context of unpaid work, we've identified 3 core areas. One definitely is, home-based work. Second is social work, right? There are a lot of people globally who are deeply investing themselves to create, soft technology, social technologies, but they are completely strapped for funding, right? So there is no money flowing in that direction. And the third one is the unpaid work the unpaid component of the paid work, right? So for example, in India, in the construction sector, you would see that to earn a daily wage, the entire family is invested. However, at the end of the day, only one person will earn the day's money, right? So that's just a very grassroots example, but there are a lot of components. So the idea is not to bring in money into these sectors, but to bring in a lot more dignity and, attributing value to the outcomes that 3 of these sectors deliver. That is the home-based work, social work, and the unpaid component of the paid professions. Yeah.
Thank you, Aarti, for clarifying. Thank you so much. I think I open the discussion right now. We are already, if there are any questions that you want to ask, I would like you to go ahead. We have 5 more minutes before we wrap up. We've already crossed the time. Anybody? Yes, please go ahead. Open to question answers. Anybody? Yes. Okay, I'm available. Aarti is available. We have a WhatsApp group. Madeline, you want to say something? Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, I want to talk about this concerning putting money into it or not, because if we see that we take care of children in Sweden, there is money our tax money that goes to some children's care, but not to all children's care. So if you leave your children to preschool and there is a pedagogue, they will have a salary from the government, from the state. But if you take care of the child yourself at home, you will not have anything. So I think that is, when we have this kind of system like this welfare system, I think the one who, if you have a person in need of care, then the money might follow the child or the elderly in need of care, instead of giving the care to me. But the money will follow the one in care instead, if you understand what I mean. Because I think if we don't have a value on it, the economics is the only value we have at the moment.
Yeah.
And
So,
if we don't value it, there will be nothing.
True, Madeline, and I think this fits in pretty well in terms of the the decided action that has to be performed. And what we are thinking is that the whole idea of unpaid work stands at as a big umbrella, and then we start identifying that according to the cultural or the regional dynamics, according to, let's say, historical trends, what are some of the forward ways that we need to craft and design? You see, we cannot have one shoe fits all.
No.
The idea of gaining recognition for the unpaid component. The larger objective is the invisible to visible, that how do we bring it inside? How do we bring it in perspective? Because when we are planning at a systemic level, then we know that we need to account for this particular aspect as well. So when you look at one of the metrics to evaluate human performance nationally is GDP. So, and which is why we have Dr. Kishore working with us. He's an economist and a policy writer. So, and he's giving us a lot of direction in terms of how do we understand certain devices that can recommend that inclusion, and we can see a more positive, a more dignified approach to unpaid work. Right. So let's say for Sweden, we need to understand, and maybe Madeline, you take the lead in terms of broad ranging this according to your cultural dynamics. I hope that makes sense. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes, that is one way. Madeline, thank you so much, Aarti, and thank you so much, Madeline. This is a larger discussion we're going to have, how exactly to move forward, because Dr. Kishore is also helping us out, how we're going to take it forward. And one very important aspect, I think, when you said that economic aspect of it, economics is very important, but I think we should start looking at things in the perspective of resources. When we talk about only economics, I think economics come down to what exactly are the resources we require to live. Because when we talk about nature and nature providing the resources, because food, shelter, clothing, all these comes from the nature. And if you look at economic, I think there has to be a way forward. Which I'm just rambling right now. I think we need to formulate more our thoughts and let's take it forward, because I think this is a complex problem and we need to all put our mind and take it forward and find solutions. I think let's go ahead in that ways. And here I thank each one of you here for taking out time and sharing your thoughts. And thank you, Madeline, Aarti, Dilla, Antara, Priyanka, Karunaji, Kishore, Dr. Kishore, and everybody, Dr. TPS, everybody who's taken out time. Thank you so much. And we're going to work on the white paper. There is a link Aarti has sent across. I'll share that link all in your emails also. And let's work on the white paper, what we can give across, because the policies needs to change, because right now they are not human centric. They are not, for us to, live a better life. I think the way the world is going, we already see the repercussion of it. So let's work towards that and making this world a better place. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you.
For being here.
Thank you, Mona, for this beautiful, purposeful initiative. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.